Welcome to Buckets, your daily NBA betting podcast presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. I'm Brandon Kravitz, joined by my fellow Buckets buddies, the mayor himself, Matt Moore, Bryan Fonseca, over 10 years of expertise covering the world of professional basketball, stateside and beyond. The guy goes global. I think he's got some stats on South America as well. I've got the big guns tonight, and we have a slate to break down. 9 games across the association. Cup night, some good ones too. It starts at 5 p.m. on the East Coast. I have a feeling this will be a quick conversation since not much has happened in the NBA tonight. My Orlando Magic dusted the Philadelphia 76ers. And then we saw 132 dropped by the Washington Wizards of all teams. Fade the Wizards at your own peril. Matt Moore, what'd you learn tonight?
Sometimes your trends are not worth betting. I love that Sixers spot. Embiid gets ruled out, was like, yes, yeah, no Embiid. That's what I wanted here. This is great. The problem is always like you're trying to find trends. And even if you're not a trend better, you're trying to find a spot. You're trying to find a situation along with matching the number. And the problem is like, I like the spot for the Sixers. I like the number for the Sixers, but it's also catching a following knife because the Magic are just red hot right now. And like, I'm doing this too often where I'm like, well, yeah, they've been really great, but no, like I got to know better on that. I know better than to try and catch a falling knife. It goes all the way back to when we started talking buckets with Raheem, and he and I would talk about this all the time about like, if the Magic are going to be this kind of a wagon, if there is going to be this kind of a fucking train barreling down at us, I need to not get in front of them. So I bet Sixers minus 1.5 or plus 1.5. Game within 7 points, dead, never close. And overtime, dead, never close. Bad bets by me. I'll do better next time.
The Magic have turned it around, and they've been some spread coverers lately. But part of this, from a spot perspective, like now we're able to look at this with the benefit of hindsight. Isn't part of this that the Magic played on Sunday? That was a terrible spot for them. It was the third game in 4 nights, second night of a back-to-back, a home road back-to-back, and no one had it. I mean, to the point where you had the end of the bench guys trying to make a run in the fourth quarter. Then you have a day off. Teams tend to bounce back, especially good teams tend to round back into form quickly. So it's not like the Magic were just steamrolling and they had some winning streak like the Pistons have at the moment. We're talking about a team that was playing really well, fell backwards, and this was sort of a bounce back. Is that something you feel like you didn't take into account with this?
Yeah, I guess. Let me look at the numbers because I hadn't really looked at that. Let's look at Jamal Mosley after he loses. Jamal Mosley after a loss, 49, 40, and 0. That counts playoffs. Let's check regular season. So they were, still 44, 38, 54% ATS. So they do tend to bounce back. Let's see if they are favorites. Because they're almost never favorite. No, 7 and 8 ATS as a road favorite after a loss. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know that the whole idea of good teams tend to bounce back, but that's also baked into the line. So I don't know that I can really say that like I like the spot for Orlando here. I do kind of worry that maybe I need to update not my priors, but like my early season perception of the Sixers is like pretty good because it looks like they're starting to shake, wobble, and maybe falling apart here. I need to.
They were missing a lot of guys too. This was
no VJ. Yeah,
Paul George. No VJ Edgecombe for them. He roasted the Magic the last time they played. Yeah. That was huge. Fonseca, what'd you learn tonight in the association?
I learned that Wendell Carter Jr. is not scared of anything. Andre Drummond squared up in a weird way. I didn't like how he squared up too. He's 6'11" and he made himself like 6'2". He got like really low, but like really low. And Wendell Carter just kind of stared at him in the face. And I found that very interesting. I looked up where Wendell Carter's from and I was reminded Atlanta. They don't play in Atlanta. So no more play in GA. Word to Pastor Troy. Wendell Carter, also in that game, I mean, listen, Orlando. I sang the theme song before we started. I'm not gonna do it now because we'll get flagged maybe. But Orlando and Wendell Carter Jr. in general, like I really liked how they've looked lately, and I'm anxious to see how this carries over once Paolo comes back because I'm still optimistic about that build. I know people are a little concerned, like, hey, they're doing this without Paolo Banchero, and I'm sure you're hearing this a lot, especially Kravitz. But they have sort of figured things out, and I'm wondering whenever he does come back, how the reintegration process will be. But Orlando, I guess to put a bow on it, I think they've figured a lot out over the last couple weeks. A lot.
Yeah. Huge one on Friday night against the Pistons, not only because that effectively decides the group, but it also, I think it's a good test for both of these teams, more so the Magic, because the Pistons right now, I think they've already passed all of their tests. But just given an update on the way that this looks as far as East Group B, the Magic are 3-0. Their only game left is against the Pistons. The Pistons play the Celtics. That's one of the games that we'll cover on this episode. It kind of doesn't matter what happens in that game for Detroit. They could lose to Boston. As long as they beat Orlando on Friday, they have the tiebreaker. And because the Magic beat the 76ers by 40, they're now plus 61. And they're basically a shoo-in to make the next round because I don't think, I was looking, Matt, I know you're all over this. I was looking at all the different options of who else could make it as far as a wild card. I don't see anybody else in the position that the Magic are in right now. So it's an interesting spot because Detroit kind of doesn't matter what happens on Friday or on Wednesday. It's all about Friday, and then the Magic have the flexibility of being able to lose, if I'm reading this right.
Yeah, but obviously Pistons are playing because they've won 13 in a row and want to keep the good times rolling. So they'll be motivated in that game versus the Celtics. What I actually think is more interesting here is we talked a lot on Sunday's pod with the Future Jays about like, well, it looks like Toronto's going to win the 1 seed because they've already locked group and they were plus 53 going into the game. Well, they're 3-0 and plus 53, but now because the Orlando Magic absolutely stunted on the Sixers, they're plus 61. If the Magic win this game on Friday versus the Detroit Pistons in the final matchup, they will finish with no worse than a 62. So now Toronto going up against Indy in kind of an interesting spot here. And this changes a lot of the calculus because whoever gets the wild card might have to face the red hot, we actually take them seriously Magic versus the very adorable, we do not take them seriously Toronto Raptors. So like the outcomes of Indy, Raptors, and Magic Pistons are going to be huge for who winds up getting that 1 seed because whoever gets that 1 seed, we're going to want to, like, if it's whoever the Raptors get, we're going to want to fade them. The Knicks bets that we made are not bad because there's still like really good value here because even if the Magic get the 1, right? If the Magic get the 1, then we still get Toronto probably versus New York in that situation. But speaking of with the Knicks, guess who's back tomorrow? Giannis Antetokounmpo most likely. And that throws a huge wrench into things in the East Group C because they face the Heat and then the Knicks. And if Giannis just goes through this and is like, yeah, no, I'm not losing. I would like to go to Vegas and win it. I want to be a 2-time Cup champ. Which I would love because we bet him for MVP along with 700 other people. But really fascinating stuff here in the last week of the Cup.
Yes, very much so. We have best bets to get to for the Wednesday slate. But first, an important message from this guy.
The Buckets Podcast is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. And in partnership with DraftKings, our listeners get a great offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. Plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has you covered. Bet live on star player props and in-progress games right as they happen. To get started, use promo code BucketsNBA when signing up with DraftKings. That's code BucketsNBA when signing up with DraftKings for 3 months of NBA League Pass and $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours.
So, Brian, you are the combat expert on this podcast. What is the right way to square up? If Andre Drummond were to pop on the stream, what would you tell him?
His chin needs to be lower because it was way up in the air, and his shoulders. I don't. It's just weird. Like you could square them. You could like sort of side profile them. It kind of depends. Like it's there's a bunch of different ways to do this correctly, so to speak. But for someone at his height and reach, you would want him to use the height and reach, and he did not do that in his stance. He made himself be from a heavyweight to basically a light heavyweight, but making himself shorter with the stance. So I would say the main thing, though, keep your chin down.
Taking notes, Matt? He's on it. 3 stars.
I'm like,
stars.
I just want to bring this up. I'm obsessed because before the show, Bryan Fonseca is basically calling James Johnson a fraud.
No, I didn't. No, I did not. No, I did not.
No, Brian said he didn't want that smoke.
He's talking about how there's no.
Can I defend my position?
No, and there's like a whole Reddit. There's like multiple Reddit threads about James Johnson and the unverified 20-0 kickboxing record for him.
Correct.
There are real life stories from Jeff Teague, and Jeff Teague's seen videos, he claims, but it's all like sourced. It's not direct. There's no direct evidence.
Yeah.
So like this is like really fascinating because James Johnson is known to be like the baddest dude on the planet. And you know, like I think it's real because why would someone lie about that in reality? Like why would someone really want to lie about that? Because like you would just get challenged. It doesn't make any sense. And like he's 38 years old. He is 6'7". He is 6'7". And so 6'7" James Johnson, just as a heads up, that Bryan Fonseca in New York, you can find him at the New York Post offices when they do live shows. Does in fact believe that you are not actually a great fighter, and
this is not true.
As tough as
this is not true. All I'm saying is, because there's the amateur kickboxing record, which we've talked about. I just would like to see video clips, a box rec profile, a Tapology profile, a Sherdog profile. Like there are amateur fights that are on record on all of these websites. Not every single one, but there are amateur fights on record that have taken place within the last, we'll call it 20, 25 years. Obviously much more recent, some even before. We have Golden Gloves trackers that go back to like the early 1900s, if you look hard enough, from New York City and New York State, rather, and otherwise. And I believe that he's a tough guy. I just want, like, there has to be video somewhere of him actually in these fights. We have videos of Jay Crowder hitting pads, Damian Lillard shadow boxing and hitting pads. We have videos of Rudy Gobert training with Cyril Gane. I have videos, a couple videos of me hitting a bag at a gym. Like I just want to see where it is. Like somebody else told a story it was on like the Levitar show about James Johnson. It may have been James Johnson himself, where he like wheel kicked or roundhouse kicked a can off the top of the rim or some crazy shit. And I'm like, where are these things? Just where are they? I don't think they're all false. I'm just like, yo, we hear about these things. But at some point, like everything shows up on the internet, it seems at some point. So
his father is a verified 7-time world champion kickboxer.
In what? In kickboxing? Okay.
Yeah.
Video. That's all I want to see from James Johnson. Video. That's it.
Okay. All right.
It adds to the urban legend that there is none.
Just again, as a stressor here, Matt Moore believes James Johnson. Bryan Fonseca would like James Johnson to show Bryan Fonseca in person that he is in fact.
Look, our producer says that he's going to roundhouse kick us if we don't get to our best bets. This is on me.
6'7", 240. Like that's the same size as Deontay Wilder. You know, it's probably legitimate. I'm sure it is, but like, where is it? So I want to know, where is it?
Okay.
We're gonna have a perhaps an off-season.
He's a free agent now. He could upload video. You know, he could upload some video of him shadow boxing. Like, he's a free agent. What else is he doing?
Brian's gonna get himself muted at this point. 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star. I'll get us started. We touched on this game, the Boston Celtics. I'm gonna take them plus 3.5 against the Pistons. Theme of the night for me, trees don't grow to the sky. The Pistons have won 13 in a row. They look great. Now we're seeing all the Ben Wallace, Rip Hamilton graphics. That's just about the time that you want to hop off a gravy train like this. Market ratings make this closer to a pick'em. If you bet the Pistons, you are paying the win streak tax. I am not willing to do that. Boston is better than they're being given credit for here. Hell, they beat the Pistons the last time they played, and that was in Detroit. This one's in Boston. Celtics are a top 10 net rating team. You know how many teams the Pistons have defeated during their 13-game winning streak that rank top 10 in net rating? 0. Not one. I'll take the points with the Boston Celtics as my 3-star play.
This feels like a Magic adjacent play because the Celtics beat the out of the Magic earlier this week. And so BK doesn't want the Pistons stealing the Magic shine as the hottest team. I will be on this play as well. By the way, I do make this. Like he said, the market line on this is 1.1. I make it 1.5 based off of normalized home court. With Celtics home court, I actually make it 3.3. I think this is really good value. In season numbers, I actually only make this. I make this basically a pick 'em. So very much like this. Might even be a overtime play again, so I can once again cry when the Magic or when the Pistons win by 40. So,
well, hopefully that doesn't happen. All right, Brian, your 3-star play
in the same game. Jalen Duren over 30.5 points plus rebounds. There's a world, actually, Kravitz, that we can both cash. So it doesn't have to be this happens and it definitely means the Pistons win. Where I'm at with this is this. Jalen Duren has been all-star level this season, legitimately. Under in 2 straight, but over in 6 straight in PR before that stretch. Over in 9 of 15 this season. Celtics allow 46.1 rebounds per 100 possessions, 5th most in the NBA. They allow the 3rd fewest points in the paint, but the primary reason they allow those points in the paint, and me is Keita, not playing in this game. He's out with an ankle injury. So that should open things up for Jalen Duren, who's going to be facing, I guess, some combination of Chris Boucher, Luke Garza, maybe Jordan Walsh, maybe Josh Minot. Like, it's going to be some combination of Celtics trying to do what they can to stop him, but they also obviously have to worry about Cade Cunningham, so on and so forth. So I do think that with Jalen Duren, the other encouraging thing is Celtics allow 2nd most free throw attempts per 100 possessions. Jalen Duren's getting to the line on average 7.4 times per game. He's hitting 76% of his free throws, which is an encouraging number. It's actually better than what it has been. Slippage as of late, 66% of his last 6, but he's averaging over 9 attempts during that stretch. So free throw volume is there. He's making enough of them. Hopefully he continues to make, somewhere in the 70s. It's fine for a center. The points in the paint should open up a little bit more with Keita out. The rebounding opportunities should definitely be there. He had 24 and 18 last time he played the Celtics earlier this year. And we're expecting the interior defense to take a little bit of a hit. So Jalen Duren is my hopefully reliable 3-star play.
Matt, your thoughts and your 3-star, please.
don't mind the play with Keita out. I think that is a huge differential. He's been one of the most impactful defensive players in the league this season, which may sound weird, but it is what it is.
I don't love that for the Celtics 3.5, by the way. Not in love with that bit of news.
It's not ideal with how good he's been defensively for them. I do want to take a look at this. So the Celtics are 73rd percentile in defending pick and roll ball handler plays, and they are on the man. They are just as good. They're allowing less than 0.99 points per possession on pick and roll man situations. And those are usually pretty high because it's usually lobs and dunks. And so you got lots of shots at the rim for those type of situations. They are I'm looking at including passes. The Boston Celtics have ranked very good this season in defending pick and roll actions as a combo. They're actually the 3rd best team in the league. So that matters for Cade. Being able to create those opportunities for Duren. Like a lot of this is like, how does Duren get his points? Like that to me is like an interesting question. The rebound's okay. How does he get his points? How does he get to the 30.5 here on points and rebounds? Because he's going to have to score. Offensive rebounds, maybe. Doesn't seem like a strength with Cade out. That does not seem like a great situation for the Boston Celtics. But I do think there's kind of a question here of if we're going to look at Boston's kind of MO. Well, yeah, here we go. So Boston does do a bad job. They allow the 4th most offensive rebounds per game in terms of percentage. So that gives Duren an opportunity for putbacks. So maybe that's how he gets here. So I can see a lot of ways for him to get here, but it is going to be kind of a tough matchup. I'm not going to be surprised if this is a sweat for Fonseca.
Duren is averaging over 4 offensive rebounds per game so far this season. He had 8 against Boston in their October 26 matchup, where he had 18 rebounds. And the points he did get to 24, and a lot of it was free throws. He was 12 of 13 from the line. He was 6 of 12 from the field. And still, the Celtics are sending guys to the line a lot. So I'm of the mindset that he'll get a good amount of free throw opportunities.
Okay. My 3-star play of the night. Golden State Warriors -1.5 versus the Houston Rockets. So I like the Rockets versus the Suns. We hit on that. I like the Warriors here at home. I am going to go back and you got crushed tonight. Teams over 500 at home. Like if you're on the road versus a team over 500 in the cup, the odds are not good. And it's like, yeah, but what about the Sixers? Well, okay, I think we kind of know maybe the Sixers are not maybe they're not an over 500 team. And the Warriors technically right now I do not qualify as such because they've been kind of lackluster. But this to me feels like a get right spot for Golden State. Houston's a familiar opponent. No Kevin Durant, so they know what this team looks like. They know they've scouted Amen Thompson, they've scouted Alperen Sengun. Reed Shepherd might catch them a little bit off guard, but other than that, this is like a very familiar team. They know most of these guys. I make this 2, which is not a huge margin, but I do like the spot a lot for Golden State. I think Houston's good, but I do think that Houston is probably going to regress a little bit offensively. I continue to kind of I keep waiting for Alperen Sengun to kind of be the guy, and maybe he is in this game. Maybe this is the spot and he dominates Golden State. But I kind of keep waiting, and that Suns game was a prime opportunity with no Mark Williams, and he was just kind of pretty good. Not elite, not awesome. So with all that, I will take the home team Warriors -1.5 here versus the Houston Rockets.
One of the things that you talked about on a prior episode that I've been toying with, I've started making my own power ratings in the NFL, and it's helped me immensely wrap my head around where the number is. You said this on yesterday's episode. I think it's important for anybody to hear. If you're looking at a number, if you ever utter the words, that line makes no sense. No, they all make sense. There's a reason why the line is set where it is. It comes from power ratings. It comes from injuries. It comes from spots that are so apparent that they're built into the lines. I just frankly don't have the time to make a day-to-day NBA power rating system. So I rely on other sources that I think are pretty good at delivering the sort of information that I would inevitably just end up landing on myself. Dunks and Threes does a really good job with this. And you mentioned Unpredictable. I had never heard of this site. I am just blown away with the level of accuracy that you get when you start to marry the market line for these teams. My question is, if anybody else that is listening to this also took your advice and started toying with the idea of, okay, I'm just gonna figure out what the math is on these lines. What should it be versus what the actual market sentiment is? It's just a good baseline. Does that site factor in injuries that are present, or is it just based off of how the team has been playing and how the market has been reacting to them?
Yeah, so the market.
That's my very long-winded way of asking.
Yeah.
Does the Rockets number on that site factor in Kevin Durant?
Yeah, so Dunks and Threes does, because it does projected injury reports. So it does projected minutes. And you can actually, if you go to Dunks and Threes, this is a pretty fun thing that he built. Taylor Snar, shout out to him for putting this game together. You can adjust the minutes however you want to be able to get a projection. Like you could actually adjust custom minutes to see what the dunks and threes projection is for the game and for their production in general. So you can adjust it yourself if you want to do those things. What Unpredictable does, though, Unpredictable is a market rating. So it's based off of what the team has been favored by versus other opponents. And it determines that to basically build a power rating effectively out of that. So that's kind of like where it is. And then the market rating is a determination of those two power ratings together. I guess.
One thing that I've been doing, I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent here because people want the bets, but dunks and threes is how the team has been performing.
Right.
Unpredictable is how the market has been reacting.
Correct.
What I've started doing is marrying the two of those to develop my own number.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like I'm at least landing in a place that I feel pretty comfortable with my projection of what a line should be next to what the actual line is.
Even if you're just doing that at least gives you a number for you to evaluate from. You can be like, now I like this side of it, right? But that at least is going to give you a number relative to what the spread is for you to actually be able to put it into context. Because that was what I was talking about last night. Is you just can't be like, well, this just feels like too many points. What does that mean? What does that mean? If it's 7, is 6 fine? Is 6.5 fine? What about 6.5 juice? Like, you need to know where you come down on these numbers. Before we move on, I do have one more trend for you. This is one of my favorite things to do in season. There are certain, and this is from real world being in locker room experiences. You talk to coaches, you talk to players, and you find out the teams that you're like, playing that team sucks. Afterwards, I feel like crap because they're so physical and they're so annoying and it feels like crap. The Thunder were a great team. They are still. It is like, if you just fade teams after playing OKC, you would be up several $1,000s over the last 3 seasons. Because coming off of playing OKC, Michael Malone once referred to it as playing them as like a root canal. Do you want to know what that's like this season? The Phoenix Suns. Here's a number for you. Teams this season against the spread after playing the Phoenix Suns as the Houston Rockets did the other night. 3-12-1 ATS. 20% against the spread in the game immediately following playing the Phoenix Suns. Like,
damn.
Yeah. Like, I would expect all these numbers to be like, 2 or 3 within 500. And like, what does it matter? But that's not how it is. I looked back and there are patterns that develop and they tend to develop early and stay. So I like the Warriors here, -1.5.
I like the Warriors as well. I'm probably going to end up tailing you on that. Brian, what I just heard is, should we be betting the Suns -3.5 against the Kings? If they're that tough and out, Sacramento's not exactly putting up a fight these days.
You don't have to sell me. You don't have to sell me on a betting against the Kings.
Hey,
although I'm not rushing to do it.
Lit the beam versus the Wolves the other night. They lit the beam.
And Denver.
Yeah.
Not that long ago.
Yeah. It's weird.
All right, we'll set that one out. All right, 2-star play. I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks +7.5 against the Miami Heat. Another hot streak that I'm fading here. Miami has won 5 straight. 8 of the last 10. Milwaukee headed in the opposite direction. They've lost the last 5, but there is a good chance that they get Giannis back in this one. And I think that's going to create some pretty attractive value at the number. If you look at the way that they've been playing, there are just not many ways to cap the Bucks to make it sound like a good bet. But they do have 4 straight against Miami. For what it's worth, they won all 4 meetings last year, so there must be something that Doc sees in this matchup that he likes, although the Miami Heat this year feel like a completely different basketball team. I just think that it comes down to, do you believe that the Miami Heat are as good as the streak and the early season would suggest? I don't, and I will fade that at 7.5, which is a pretty fat number for a team that has Giannis. Brian,
I think
you're the Heat
are
guy.
I think the Heat are good.
Is it real though?
I don't know.
Because if it's not, then the fade should start almost now.
I think it's probably so. The Detroit one is where I'm like, okay, maybe that's it. Like, I don't know. I don't know where to sort of time the spot, because I've been thinking about this actually, because they won 5 straight, all games that I thought were winnable considering the circumstances. Like I set up here, I like them to beat the Knicks. I bet them on the money line in that game, and what a surprise! And in looking at that game or that series, I was like, okay, they're going to just split with the Knicks. That's what's going to happen here. I thought they would split with Cleveland. They did that. And then, Golden State sat everybody. Chicago, I mean, it was a great spot for them, I thought. Philly, shorthanded again. I just don't know what the spot is going to be, because they've also been really, really good at home. This is Giannis's first game back. And even coming into the season, I was like, I kind of think they're better than Milwaukee. I had them as a 5 or 6 seed in the East coming into the season. So this is around what I probably thought they would have been. Well, they're a little bit better than even that. So this is a stay away for me personally, because they're going to have a letdown spot soon. I just don't know what it is of their upcoming games. I don't think it's the Clippers. I'll come out and say that. I don't think it's that spot. I feel like it's one of these next 2 games with Milwaukee or Detroit. And if it's neither, then we're going to have to start having different conversations about this thing.
No, that's when you fade them. If they beat both of them, then we know they're outproducing expectations.
It's
right?
not against the Clippers, though. I think it's against maybe Orlando when they get on the road shortly after.
Yeah.
Or Dallas,
So,
not Dallas.
Right. I'm going to avoid this one. And the biggest reason that I'm going to avoid it is I can't get an accurate power rating on it because, okay, they start off the season and they're really good. Giannis is amazing, but the surrounding team around Giannis was also playing pretty well. And like they had a lot of really promising good numbers. And then Giannis goes out and they lose without Giannis. And it's like, okay, it's fine. But then all of the underlying metrics get bad too. Like you should be like, okay, you are about what we expected. You're bad. You're not as good as you were with Giannis, but you're still this good. It's just like if you had Giannis, it'd be better. But that's not what happened. So the question is, was that early season performance by the supporting cast not reliable? And this is actually who they are. And now they get Giannis back. It's this version of that team with Giannis, which is like a 500 team. Or is Giannis what makes them go? And all of a sudden, everybody snaps back and plays really well. And both, I think, are very possible. Can't both be likely, but both are very possible. So, like to me, it's even. So I want to wait and evaluate this game before I get back in on this, because like I was betting Milwaukee as if they were that early season team only adjusted for Giannis, and they were worse than that. So the question now is like when Giannis comes back, what version do we get? And I think it's an interesting question.
Yeah, and even more to that point, from that perspective, Matt, like Giannis is he might be the most important player to his team in the league out of everybody.
I mean, I'd still have Jokic, but it's Jokic and Giannis.
Right. I mean, he has a better supporting cast in Denver, but it's than what Milwaukee has. I think so. I don't think it's by like that much, but
like
yes,
it's a weird question. Like I think it's like Jamal Murray. Like Jamal Murray be the second best player on the Bucks. Yeah. Do you want Aaron Gordon or Miles Turner?
Wait, what side of this are you on?
I'm on the side that I think that the Bucks actually have less talent than the Nuggets.
No, we agree.
Yeah.
I think Denver has a better supporting cast.
Yeah.
I think Denver has a better supporting cast. That's why I'm like Giannis may be the most important player to this team, because they have Ryan Rollins playing way above his head.
He's been great.
Yeah. And it looks like it's going to stick for at least the time being, but it feels like they needed it, which is a little more alarming. I didn't think much of their supporting cast going into the season, but I thought it'd even be a little bit better than this. And Miles Turner is going the other way, it looks like. So
another really interesting number here. This is the number 1 road effective field goal percentage team. Sorry, they're just number 1 overall. They're the number 1 offensive EFG team, the Bucks are. The Heat are the number 2 defense. So which one of those wins out?
I do think I just want to make sure that I say this out loud. I made this bet. This is not just for content. This was a wager that has already been placed, as most are. But sometimes, you give it out and then you wait. But there is a chance we get screwed with this Giannis news. The
Yeah.
original report was that he is going to be out for 1 to 2 weeks. It's been 6 days. Technically, we're not even at a week yet. But it just, well, usually when you see the star go from out to upgraded to questionable, that's a signal that they're going to play. And it does appear like Giannis cares about the cup. And they can put themselves, first of all, they can boot Miami if they win this game.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need them to win, by the way. We just need them to cover. I'm not going to bet the money line because I don't need to add more to this wager. But just keep that in mind. If it makes you nervous, just hold off.
Yeah.
Bryan,
And,
2-star play for you.
Yeah, and last thing on that, just as someone who likes the Heat, I am wondering when people will figure out the offense and catch on and figure out ways to stop it, and then what's their counter to that. But that might be more of a January thing. I don't think we're at that point in the season yet.
I actually don't even think that's a problem because their offense isn't why they're winning. It's all the defense.
No, it's especially in the half court. But
I
don't know if the offense is going to stay where it is, I guess, all season.
I do have one more trend that's in Miami's favor I do want to mention here.
Mm-hmm.
So Miami's average spread this season is 0.9. They're about a point underdog on average this season.
Mm-hmm.
When they are greater than that, if their line is greater than their average line on the season, Miami is 7-2 ATS, 78% this season. So
my 2-star.
Eric Spoelstra, good with expectations. Not surprised to hear that.
Yeah,
he was a coach of the year future that I took before the season started.
All right, I officially hate this bet. By the way, thank you guys.
Now cash though.
Look, you just need them to cover, and the Heat will.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm still gonna walk through the wilderness in South Beach with this one.
My 2 stars, Jalen Brunson over 28.5 points against the Charlotte Hornets. In a boring play, basically, because I mean, Jalen Brunson just kind of does this. I think that he's gotten this over 28.5 points in 3 of 5, both against Charlotte and in general. And to me, this is kind of a fate of Karl-Anthony Towns to some extent, who hasn't put together back-to-back awesome performances. He just went off for 37 against the Nets. And in the 22 games that he scored 30 last year, he followed it with another 30-point game just 4 times. This season, this is his 3rd 30-point game. He hasn't done it again back-to-back. And look, they can both go off. I think in this game, like, I wanted to get some sort of over. I missed the boat on the total. The total opened at 232.5. It's now at 238.5. And I think in this game, we're expecting points. Charlotte, as much as I like their offensive talent, they cannot guard. And I think this is a good matchup for Jalen Brunson, a little bit more specifically. Teams are shooting 41% from 3 against the Charlotte Hornets, the worst 3-point defense in the NBA right now. Now they've been without LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller for a lot of that, but those guys aren't necessarily going to do a lot to help your defense. LaMelo Ball especially. And Jalen Brunson's just been kind of a machine more often than not. So he's, I think, one of the more reliable individual plays, because there are a lot of overs I kind of like in this game, but I didn't quite know who to sort of back. And Jalen Brunson feels like the most reliable one. He'll have maybe the cleanest matchup out of everybody. So Brunson to get over 28.5, and I'm probably cool with 30 plus.
They need to put the hammer down here for point differential. That can go one of 2 ways. They can absolutely blitz this team in the first 3 quarters and Jalen sits the 4th and you go under, or they keep Jalen in because they got to make sure they win point differential and Jalen goes over. So
they're 20th in 4th quarter margin this year, the Knicks. So they've actually been not great at keeping teams like away. Like, they let Memphis back into the game. They let Dallas back into the game. So the line opened at like, I think it was 4.5 and got bet up to 7.5. We'll see where it lands, but there's a chance that this game is pretty close. But I agree, there's an outcome where they just run away with this. But we haven't seen the Knicks be good on the road. They actually have the worst against the spread record on the road right now. They're like 1-6.
They are 4-6 when LaMelo plays ATS, and the over is 7-3 in those games. So that's positive towards your scoring. Like, they may need Brunson to score more because the Hornets will put up points.
More on that in my 1-star play.
Well, I was going to say, so that we don't have to go back to the Charlotte game, you want to just go ahead, give us the 1-star?
Hornets team total over 115.5. Now, caveat. I want to wait to see if this drops because, again, the total moved a lot. So I want to see if there's a buy point that's going to be a little bit lower. So I'm not playing this yet. This is more of a lean. I want to see if this drops maybe a point or two, and then I'll grab it. The Knicks are 20th in defense on the road, and I think 17th or 18th in defense in general. Hornets are 7th in pace at home, 16th in home offense, which is, about league average. So, not tremendous, but they did that largely without, again, Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, who've barely played this year. So you have one of the few times, this is actually going to be the 4th time this season that they start a game with LaMelo Ball, Concanipple, Miles Bridges, and Brandon Miller together. These dudes are going to score. They had 86 against the Clippers. The Knicks defense, without OG Anunoby, their best defensive player, he's not going to be playing in this game. We'll see what happens otherwise. We'll see if anyone pops up on the injury report beforehand. Mitch Robinson is one you always have to watch, although it looks like he may play in this one. But these guys are going to score. They're going to try to run. And the Knicks defense, the Knicks have the most dramatic gulf of anybody in the NBA, legitimately and statistically, in how they've played at home versus how they played on the road. They're one of the absolute best teams at home in terms of covering, in terms of just their offense, all these different things. And then on the road, it hasn't quite been there. And it's not like they played a gauntlet on the road. Chicago, Miami twice, Milwaukee, Dallas, the Nets just now. Now they're going to play this Charlotte team who I think is going to run up and down. And I'm expecting points here. I want to wait, but team total over Charlotte is going to be my lean for this 1-star play.
Do you think they win this game? Do you think the Knicks win?
They should, yeah.
That's not why I asked you. I didn't ask you if they should. I asked you if they're going to win this game or not.
I think they ultimately do, yes.
Okay, so in road games where the Knicks win, there's only been 2 wins this season straight up. They are 1, 2, 3, 4. They're 2-5 on the road. Good call by Bryan Fonseca on this.
1-6 ATS.
The opponent team total over is 0-2 in those games. On the season, when the Knicks win, the opponent team total over is 4-6. So basically, if the Knicks lose, they allow their opponent to go over. So if you like Bryan's play, you might go the whole way here, given how bad the Knicks are on the road. Just take a look at what
I thought about it.
Hornets money line and Hornets team total over looks like. Because the Hornets are not winning a defensive battle. We can agree on that.
Correct. Yes, they will not.
Yeah. If the Knicks were ever going to get right on the road, this would be the time to do that.
I mean, Matt, they just beat the Nets by 13, so. But that's
MSG
not a
road
Brooklyn,
game.
So yeah, that
does not count. I was looking at that game because I wanted to fade the Knicks on the road, and I saw they were in Brooklyn and said that nope, does not qualify. Nick, or not Nick. Who is Nick? Matt, you're doing 1-star play.
Joe's child is probably actually named Nick, not Nick Nick.
That wasn't. You're right. That wasn't Nick Nick. That was Knick. Nick.
Yeah, it's actually Nick Billera is actually his child's name. Okay. I'm gonna do it again. I keep getting burned on Pacers unders. I'm doing it again. The Pacers are the 2nd worst over team on the road this season. All their games go under. The Raptors are the 5th best home under team this season. This total is all the way up at 235.5. I projected 228. I'm going with the under in Pacers Raptors. The reason this is a 2-star and it's a kind of a weak 2-star because with the Pacers fully healthy, I don't know how to really project them. Because with Mathurin back and with what looks like an actual form of this team, they're now scoring again. They look a little bit more like the Indiana Pacers should. They're no longer a Charlotte Hornets level team. They're an actual basketball team. And so I have a little bit of a trouble there, but like the Raptors defense at home has been tremendous. It's just been really great. And I continue to believe that this Pacers team can defend a little bit better. The Indiana Pacers are still 29. They're still, even with all these adjustments, they're still 29th in half-court offense. Raptors are 13th in half-court defense. The Raptors are 3rd in half-court offense. That's a problem. And the Pacers are 25th in half-court defense. But even if what I actually need to happen here is I need the Pacers to score a little bit more, so that's not just like run outs for the Raptors the other way. The transition numbers are all mid. It's not really impressive. It's not really something that it makes you want to lean towards going one way or the other. Toronto has slowed down. They're 14th in pace and 28th on defense. They make you work. They don't give up the easy stuff, and they make you work for it. Then on the other hand of this, you got Indiana, who is 7th in pace, but is still 15th in opponent defensive possession length via dunks and threes. So I'm going to go with the under here, 235.5 Raptors Pacers. I got to hit one of these Pacers unders eventually.
Defense has been stellar, and the Pacers are not the offense, obviously, that they were a year ago. So at any point, as in most nights, the bottom could fall out there. It does look like money is coming in on the under. There's a lot of 234s out there, but there are still 235s to be had. What about a one-star play from you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm going to take Spurs plus 2.5 here. No Wemby. I've been really good with picking my spots with Portland. We were on the other night. I know I feel like I have a good sense of when to fade Portland and when to back them.
I'm with you. They've been one of my best reads of the season, Portland.
And I don't like this spot for them. A favorite versus a good team that's well coached in a cup game. Now, again, we're going into that. I'm going up against that trend here of teams over 500 at home tend to do well in the cup. But I make the Blazers, even on in-season numbers, which has Portland, including their fluky wins versus the Warriors, Thunder, and Nuggets, I still only make this Blazers pick 'em. Like I make it basically pick 'em minus 120 Blazers. On preseason priors where I wasn't high on the Spurs at all, I'm at 2.3. I cannot get there on the Blazers being a 2.5 point favorite here in the spot, even without Victor Wembanyama. The Spurs have continued to have gotten some good wins here, and they're good on the road. This is a very good matchup in terms of the Blazers have been good at home against the spread. They're 6th best in the league. Spurs are 8th best in the league in that regard. But I like this matchup for the San Antonio Spurs. In particular, Blazers are 23rd in half-court offense. The Spurs are 12th in half-court defense. So I think it's just going to be hard for them to score. More opportunities for San Antonio to get cross matches. I like San Antonio here plus 2.5.
Like that one too. Fine nominations, my friends. My one star is Minnesota OKC under 227.5. Two of the top defensive teams in the NBA, number 1 and number 10 season long, number 1 and number 4 over the last 10 games. The Wolves have gone under. Their games have gone under in 7 straight. And it's possible, talk about Giannis getting upgraded to questionable. SGA got downgraded to questionable. If they don't have SGA, they are going to muck this game up worse than they already do. So I will take the under at 227.5. It is that time of year. We have a great deal on Action Pro as part of our Black Friday sale, which is live right now. Sign up for an annual subscription. Get 50% off your first 3 months. Action Pro users get real-time alerts as soon as experts like Sean Kerner, Nick Giffen, Stuckey, Chris Raybon track picks in the app. Without Action Pro, you're going to need to wait 30 minutes to get alerts, and then you risk not getting the best of the number. You're also going to get real-time money percentages to see where smart money is flowing in, and you get access to our NFL player prop projections powered by Sean Kerner. The deal is over soon. So go to actionnetwork.com/pro. Sign up now for an annual subscription. First 3 months, 50% off. Can't beat that at actionnetwork.com/pro. Before we get out of here, it's time to set things up for the Shack Pack. Some double doubles on a Wednesday presented by DraftKings. Make sure that you opt in. You'll get a bonus on a double-double parlay. And here are a few of the guys that we like on a Wednesday. We're going to go with Jalen Duren of the Pistons, Isaiah Hartenstein of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Giannis Antetokounmpo making his way back for the Milwaukee Bucks. You can get that at plus 380 on DraftKings. That right there, our Shack Pack double-double presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Matt, you sign off on said double-double with the three options that we have selected. Did we go too chalky with our options here on the board?
No, I think we've got some good opportunities here. I think Cup night, I think teams are going to be playing a little bit tighter, right? So this is a good spot to get on double doubles with the rebounds, because if there's more shots, missed shots, then you're going to get more double doubles. So good opportunities here. I like the Hartenstein one quite a bit as well. Giannis makes me a little bit nervous with what his minutes might be coming off the injury. But other than that, I love the Jalen one, love Hartenstein, love Giannis. Rack it up at DK.
And Brian, you are all in on Jalen Duren to smash this tonight. If he does that, then you should be well on your way.
And if Mitchell Robinson happens to pop up on the injury report, I will look at Musa Diabate potentially.
I mean, it would be off-brand if you didn't. That right there is a wrap for
Hornets allow the second fewest rebounds per 100 possessions. Just saying.
We fit in one more. I thought we weren't going to go back to the Hornets and the Knicks, and yeah, here we are. Shout out to the crew.
I did check in with a bookmaker real quick, and Jalen Johnson is minus 750,246 to 1 versus Bryan Fonseca in their upcoming fight. So
we're not even in the same weight class. And I'm not trying to fight.
Jalen Johnson said, quote, once, "It's respect. I'm honored to always get that."
James Johnson.
I don't think being tough or anything means black belt. You can have heart and you can fight anybody. So you can fight anybody, Brian.
So my question for you, Matt, is then would you, since that number isn't that attractive, would you tease James Johnson and the Spurs? How does that? Are we doing that?
Enjoy the games, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you want to tail these bets, look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description. Head to actionnetwork.com/bet now. Shout out to DraftKings. Shout out to David Payne. Shout out to all of you. Shout out to the turkeys filling our bellies. Let's get buckets.